Liverpool-Arsenal, thrilling Premier League game. Could have really gone either way. Arsenal leading 2-0 at one point. Liverpool brought things back to 2. Could have been 3-2 if not for a missed penalty by Mo Salah. But the real question now.
Also, could have been 3-2 or 4-2 had it not been for those miraculous couple of saves right towards the end by Ramsdale.
Yes, Aaron Ramsdale really kept them in that game as well. But those two drop points, because we can call them that, has unfortunately put a bit of a, let's say, it's put the gap well within reach for City, because it's a 6-point gap, sure, but it is a 6-point gap. You can show this on the full screen if need be. 6-point gap, but with City having a game in hand. And not just that, City also have a game against Arsenal. And that is at the Etihad Stadium.
Yeah.
That is going to be a tricky fixture. I think that is a title-deciding fixture.
That becomes a virtual final, let's say.
Yeah. 100%. So what we thought we'd talk about today in this, one day after the fixture took place, was that where exactly does this leave things now going into the last, let's say, 8 games for, Arsenal and 9 for Man City. Plenty of fixtures. Things could really go either way. Who has the toughest fixture list? Mentality, there's so many factors.
Yes, in the build up to this last leg of the Premier League. What Shane and I thought that we'd, share our views as to where we see this title race headed. Who, let's say, has the edge in whatever fixtures that they're left with. And given the fact that, you talk about factors that could determine the title race, it could also be the fact that who's participating in which other competitions, that also makes a difference as to which players then get to play, how much of game time, workload, all of that, strategy. Somebody like a Pep Guardiola likes keeping his cards close to his chest, just shuffles things around week in, week out. So, we thought we'd just, share our views as to where we see things headed, because it's just getting interesting, let's say, from a point that you were looking at a much wider gap, it's now come down to 6 points, courtesy the fact that, and that's the one, there's 2 ways of looking at yesterday's match. It could be 2 points lost or a point earned. That's 2 ways, if you're an Arsenal fan, you can look at it. You would have thought that at one point, given the bright start that Arsenal had, that, they'd be going from the Anfield with all 3 points. But that was more like poking the bear, if you ask me, because at one point, Arsenal desperately needed that half-time whistle to blow, and towards the end they would be like, okay, we're happy, we're happy going with that 1 point because of those 2 saves towards the end, and there was just a barrage of attacks from Liverpool that we saw. So Shane, let's just see, before we get to talking about as to what the fixtures look like, we'll come to that as well. What impression does this title race sort of give to you?
See, I mean, the thing with City is they've been a machine over the past 6-7 years. They've won league titles, gobbled them up like it's absolutely nothing. They've won them consistently. They've had 99-point seasons, 100-point seasons, you name it. It's been there. They've been doing it. They're a real image of consistency in the last few years, especially when it comes to it. Arsenal, though, have surprised everyone, and you need to have actually done that. Remember, the only other team in recent years to beat City to a title like that was Liverpool. Who needed frightening levels of consistency to even come close. And that's the thing. Can Arsenal get that? I think it's a fairly young team, but they have one advantage. When we're talking about fixtures, they are pretty much out of every competition except the Premier League. Whereas City
still have the FA Cup.
Still have the FA Cup. They're still in the Champions
League
and
as well.
I'm sorry, if I'm a City fan, if I'm a City executive, I want that Champions League title more.
Absolutely. Even though there's a lot riding in terms of history, but I think Pep Guardiola, whatever he had to prove in the Premier League, him and his players, I think they're done. They're already 2 times champions. As far as this run is concerned, they're gunning for a 3rd successive title. That's Pep Guardiola's legacy in, let's say, about half a decade that he spent at the blue half of Manchester. But having said that, let's now quickly dive into the fixtures that the 2 teams are left with, and maybe then we can really answer that question as to who has the edge at the moment. So let's just quickly tell you as to what the fixtures are. Shane, if you could run us through what the Arsenal fixtures as far as their 8 fixtures in this final leg of the Premier League are concerned.
Yes, and we can show this on screen also. So, of the 8, I would say at least the next 2 fixtures, I would say are fairly easy fixtures. Southampton rooted to the bottom of the table at home. It's a home fixture for Arsenal. It should be on paper an easy win. West Ham are also in a relegation fight, so even if it's an away match, the travel isn't much. Another London side should be an easy match for them. Chelsea is another home match, but of course, don't forget that it could be a tricky match. I know Chelsea right now are going through terrible form.
You don't know which Chelsea turns out.
Yes, correct. But that's the thing. So that could be a tricky fixture. Then comes the biggest one. Manchester City away from home. That is the title decider. But even after that, see, Brighton, never an easy team to play. And under De Zerbi, they seem to have kind of discovered a next level. He's made them something else. Newcastle, by the way, is still in a fight for the top 4.
Top 4.
They are not going to be an easy team to beat. After that, I still say Wolves and Nottingham are the easier fixtures they would have.
So if you were to pick, let's say 1, 2 or 3, whatever number of fixtures you want to pick, of course, that fixture against Manchester City definitely is going to be one of those, not just the tricky ones, the toughest of the lot.
True.
But let's say if you were to name the 2 fixtures which are going to be, or 3 fixtures which could get tricky for Arsenal, which ones would they be?
Chelsea, City, Newcastle.
You won't put West Ham in there?
No. West Ham are in a relegation dogfight. They have gone through a bit of an identity crisis this year, not been playing the same kind of football. Don't forget their captain Declan Rice, on all likelihood, probably leaving the club at the end of the season. So for me, this fixture, these first 2 or their next 2 fixtures that they have are the okay ones. Chelsea, City, and Newcastle. Brighton too can be a banana slip or a banana peel, but they could also coast. These 4, I think, or these 3 are the ones which are the really tough ones, because again, Chelsea, they have nothing to play for. They could very well just come out there, all guns blazing, fine. We have nothing to lose here. Let's play attacking football, get a good result. City, of course, are going to be looking to win. They know for a fact a win opens the thing right up for them. And Newcastle, they don't need to win, but I mean, look, you have to win if you want to be making top 4. There are 3 clubs right now. Manchester United, Newcastle United, Spurs. Every win is going to be important. So these are the 3 for me. After that, the last 2 are fairly easy. So
relatively easy run.
These 4 here, this cluster, they get through that having dropped minimum points. I think they're okay. But that City fixture.
Yes. And I think this is happening right towards the end of April, if I'm not wrong. These 3 fixtures coming in from there. I think the one against Newcastle is going to be, I think, the first week of May, if I'm not wrong. But these 2 fixtures towards the end of April could really be the key. But let's not talk you through the City fixtures. Remember, City have a game in hand, which is why you see 9 fixtures here as against 8 as far as Arsenal are concerned. Quickly going to run you through the City fixtures. 9 games for them left in the season. Let's just talk you through the 5 home games that they have. They've got Leicester again, who's struggling for form. So I'll take it that that City will be able to aim for a clean sheet, I would say, in that game against Leicester, to say the least for City. Then of course is that big clash against Arsenal. I'm gonna say something that might rile up, let's say, the City fans, but perhaps the one fixture where you'll actually see the Etihad filled to the brim. You don't see that very often. That's something that Pep Guardiola has also complained about. But this is a virtual final. If it was, let's say the Champions League, so this becomes the Champions League final, let's say, for the 2 teams. Of course, that's not to forget that City are still in the running for a maiden title as far as the Champions League is concerned. Then West Ham again should be an easy one. Leeds, you always know, is a high scoring match, and you expect Pep Guardiola to be winning this one. And then of course you've got Chelsea, again a side that City have had the wood over the last few years, and right now you really don't know what to expect out of Chelsea at the moment. There's been too much happening, so City will back themselves for a win here as well. So barring, let's say, the Arsenal game, I see, and because this is a game which will have just so much involved, so many nerves over there, you don't know what happens in that match over here. I expect City to win all of their matches at home, barring the Arsenal match, which could be a draw, could be a loss. Seems a little difficult for me to...
That's the toughest match, let's say.
It is, let's say, the toughest match, where, let's say, some points could be dropped. Speaking about the away fixtures for City, they've got Fulham away, Craven Cottage, not the easiest place to travel.
Not this season for sure.
Not this season for sure. But having said that, City should be able to get a result over there as well. Everton, Again, I think this is an easy one. Should be easy at Goodison. Brentford, if you ask me, from the 4 matches that they are, that they have away from home, I think Brentford could be tricky, and the Brighton fixture as well, I expect that to be tricky as well. So it's even Stevens in many ways. If you see, there are 3 fixtures over here for Arsenal, which could prove to be tricky, and 3 over here as well. Just that Arsenal fixture gives City the edge, let's say, because of the fact there are 2 reasons, I would say. One, of course, is the fact that City have come in with that pedigree. And Arsenal know it's not going to be an easy place to travel to. So beating City at home, so only a few clubs have managed that over the last few years, and so I'll give City the advantage over there. But otherwise, just the 2 fixtures where I see City sort of slipping up in some way, not losing, let's say, but yeah, some points could be dropped over here as against Arsenal, who really seem to have 3 proper tricky fixtures.
I disagree. You know why? Here's the thing. Everton, I know, probably very weak right now. Brentford we already picked as a tough fixture, but the things that make Brentford so good or even tough to play against, you'll encounter qualities of it with Everton as well. Why? Coached by a manager who loves his 4-4-2s, Route 1 football. That's often been an undoing of Pep Guardiola.
But it's not been working for Everton this time around as well.
Of course not. But it could. You never know. Again, don't forget, Everton also, they're in relegation fight.
Yeah.
They will be
again, second successive year.
Exactly. It just tends to happen with them. So I think these, and Brighton, yes, of course, always a tricky fixture, but one very
because they're also playing for a 5th, 6th spot, remember. They're still playing for Europe.
Yes. And one thing I will say is very funny that both teams have Chelsea to play. You know why? It's not funny actually for me because I could be staring at 2 very heavy losses here. But in recent years, Chelsea, they won their last league title in 2017, but they have had the role, let's say, of unintentional kingmakers.
Yes.
Because in 2019-20, you beat City at home, which pretty much ended their title run. Liverpool won. 2020-21, they beat Liverpool at home. Then also, that pretty much confirmed, although Liverpool were well out of the running by that point, but they had the wood over the teams who you'd be expecting to compete higher up the table. They'd also beat City that year.
And let's not forget in 2016 as well.
Yes.
Beat Spurs, and that confirmed the title for Leicester City as well.
So both of these, teams there, it's very amusing because you could very well see one of them play kingmaker again. Unless, of course, they're going to lose to both teams, in which case, forget it. But this is, of course, it has happened. It's become a weird trend in recent years that Chelsea will play unintended kingmaker. Like how they'll beat one team and the other team goes on to win it. It happens. It happened it's happened with Liverpool. It happened with City before. And as we say, Leicester probably the most popular example because I remember that game against Spurs was dubbed the Battle of the Bridge. You had so many yellow cards. So many yellow cards.
Hazard scored that goal.
The Spurs bench went mad. That was a very funny game. Very, very funny game.
So yes, if you had to, let's say, end this before we, dive into the comments.
Couple of comments,
Who do you, let's say, as things stand, give the edge?
I'll give it to City. Simple reason, because I think even their banana peel fixtures are fixtures that if they do well, they can win pretty easily. With Arsenal, their banana peel fixtures, one is City, which is really tough. Newcastle are a very underrated side for me right now. Very good job that
I would say that as a United fan.
Yes, you saw what they can do. So these are the banana peels, and that's the thing. Here, these are teams that can trouble Arsenal very easily. Whereas with City, you know for a fact Everton and even Brentford, who are really good at their style, would have to put in an absolute Herculean effort. And the thing with City is they tend to dig deep at these moments because again, it's a champion's mentality. Although of course 2 of those players are now at Arsenal.
Exactly. As much as, let's say, a United supporter, I would want this streak of cities to break and Arsenal to probably get one after 19 years. They've waited a long time. But even then, for all practical purposes, I would say if I was to give somebody the edge, I'll give it to City as well.
Correct.
Firstly, the fact that the virtual final that they're playing, or the virtual title decider, they're playing at home, look like the much more scary opposition or much more dominating. Let's say if going by the stature of the 2 teams are concerned, that's by no means to say that Arsenal haven't looked intimidating, but City look far menacing of force. That's one. 2, of course, the champions mentality. We saw that I think in the last game of last season as well. They were 2-0 down to Aston. Turned it around at home, and that's how City play at home, and that's been ingrained now by this man on the screen that you don't give up.
I'll add one last thing. Arsenal have a horrible record against City, especially since Arteta took over.
Yes.
The master has really had the wood over the students in this particular case.
Yes.
So let's quickly just take. I think we've made up this thing. Let's see. Deepak Yadav says that City's fixtures with Chelsea and Arsenal is where things will get decided. Yes. I think so. That's pretty close. Saurav Mukherjee says it's Arsenal's title to lose. 6 out of 8, that should be that. They have no other engagement. That is the point. That is the point. They don't have any other matches. And if you remember, 2015-16, when Leicester won it, they were pretty much out of every cup competition by this point.
16, really helped.
16-17, Chelsea didn't have any European football.
And an interesting parallel that I can draw over here, since this point has been made by Saurav Mukherjee, that 2016 Leicester side and this Arsenal side in 2023 that we see, one of course is the fact that, you know, both sides don't have any other or didn't have any other competitions to, you know, compete in and to be worried about, and also two very young sides as well.
Yes.
Very young side, that of Leicester as well. So, and they were playing on the break, had a lot of pace on them. You had the likes of Mahrez, you had the likes of Vardy, who would just run the, you know, entire length and breadth of the field. You've seen similar, let's say, instances with Arsenal as well. That's not to say that, you know, that the two have had the same way of play. You know, and Arsenal haven't really enjoyed playing on the break as much as that Leicester did.
True. They're much more possession dominant.
A lot of, you know, pacey players in this side, and yeah, if you just want to draw parallels, maybe that could be one of them
both London sides.
Both London sides as well.
So yeah, I think we both agreed this time that I think City have the slight edge, but that's just how we feel about it. What you guys think? Well, you can let us know that in the comments. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tap the bell icon, follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook as well. For now though, from Harshit and me, bye-bye.